Technical difficulties. All right. All right. You guys hear me now? How about now? How about now? Can you hear me now? All right. Now, let's see here. Oh, man, are we having technical difficulties? Well, that's what happens when you do live TV. Live TV. Hold on just a second. Let's see what we got here. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Boom, there it is. Well, there you go. Well, I might have to reshoot the intro. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Today, guys, we are going to talk about the coronavirus update for March 17th, 2020. And we're going to focus on what I call the fallacy of the test. All right, so one more time with that awesome introduction. Oh, you gotta love that. So I have to keep playing it. Isn't that amazing? All that sacred geometry and all the 2, 3, 5, 8 framework all built into that. All right. Well, thanks for the mulligan, Balance Nation. Did you miss me? Have you missed me for a while? Because the last few days I've been training the new incoming class for Balance Protocol Institute's preceptorship program. These forward-thinking clinicians who want to come and learn to be a part of the movement of Balance Protocol, to be out there and serve other patients and change and transform lives. All right, so like I said, I'm a little tired. So we're going to go to the tail of the tape. We're going to try this one more time. Let's take a look at what the stats are for today. Okay, so here's what we got. We have the COVID-19 stats from the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center, and this crazy little map here in the middle with all those red little circles and stuff. You know, too funny. Let's get it over here to the United States. Okay, so we have 197,126 confirmed cases. I'm going to challenge that confirmed term here in just a second, with only 7,905 deaths of that. So if you did the math, they're saying, well, that's about a 4% death rate. Okay, well, hold on a minute. But look at that total recovered amount, 80,845. Now look at China, though. Okay, so if you look over here on the left, you see China had 81,000 cases. And then over here, they have 56,000 recovered. But guess what? Okay, let's click on China. Okay, but they've only had 3,000 deaths. Okay, now I know people are like, well, they're underreporting and all that other kind of fun stuff. Blah, blah, blah. I don't buy that. Are we going to trust Johns Hopkins University's numbers or not? It's what we have here, so we're going to have to give us a little bit of latitude. Of course, there's going to be some errors in that, okay? But if you've had China have 81,000 cases, 56,000 have, 68,000 have recovered, okay? And only 3,200 deaths. Well, that's a difference of about 20,000. Well, just give them time. They'll recover too. That's the take home. That's number one. So that should give you a tremendous amount of comfort, Balance Nation. All right. So in dirty old, filthy old China, Wuhan created virus. It wasn't the United States Army. Don't make me get on a plane. Come over there and stick up for my boys and girls in the uniforms. Anyways, the upshot is that's a damn good track record. So first point of the points, because I'm going to have a slew of them tonight. I'm not pressed for time, is number one, what a hell of a recovery rate in the bleak hole that is China. Okay, so that in and of itself, of that trend, is not worth the hysteria or the panic, nor does it substantiate the stupid A numbers that people like Jack Cruz has been putting out lately and people have been asking me about. Okay, love you, Jack, for a lot of other reasons, stuff like that, but it's stupid. You got to be kidding me, these numbers, right? Trying to say that, by April we'll have 10 million cases in the United States. Give me a damn break. But hey, let's take a look at the algorithm, because I want you guys to see where I'm coming from, okay? Just to kind of give you an idea from my particular opinion, all right? So if you go to this particular Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resource Center, you see that yellow line was mainland China, had a little spike, boom, and then it's leveled out. Okay, over time. Now, you see this big old yellow line going and spiking up like that? It passed the recovery rate. Well, of course, because they're lumping in all other locations on the planet. Okay? So what you can, in essence, do on this particular chart, okay, is you can also go over here to daily cases and take a look at it this way. So we had a big old spike in February of 15,000. Then we had a couple more other big spikes here, okay? Now, the question should be, why did these spike between the 13th and the 17th? Okay? Okay, remember, I want you to think for yourselves and critically think and analyze. Well, here's what it is. Testing. Testing, 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 testing. So let's look at the test. Now remember, guys, I covered this in a previous video, okay? And that was the potential false positive rate among asymptomatic infected individuals in close contact of COVID-19, okay? So basically, this is what it says. The results were that when the infection rate of the close contacts and the sensitivity and specificity of reported results were taken as the point estimates, the positive prediction value of the active screening was only 19.67%. In contrast, the false positive rate of positive results was 80.33%. Okay, so in close contacts of COVID-19 patients, nearly half or even more of the asymptomatic, without any symptoms, infected individuals reported in the active nucleic acid test screening might be false positives. So the test is a fallacy, in my particular opinion. Now, again, I'm always going to say what I'm famous for saying. This is not intended to be medical advice. I ask you to go ahead and do your own research. Question everything, including my opinion. It's okay for us to disagree, okay? But here's the thing. I like to show you at least some type of scientific literature or positions. There's other literature that contradicts what I'm saying. That's totally fine. Let's share it all out there, share the controversy, and get everybody to start thinking for themselves, okay? So the reason why this is muy importante is because of the sheer fact that what's going to start happening now, we're already seeing it on TV, is all these people who are asymptomatic, remember the ones we were just talking about with an 80% false positive rate, are getting in their little cars and they're driving in to these little drive-through places where you put your window down and this person in a hazmat suit randomly takes a little cotton swab and goes whoop, 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 up your little nostrils, kablang, kablang, blang, like, which would be hard to do with my big old nose. Okay, blam, 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 and just taking tests. So do I believe that the confirmed cases in the United States are going to go up? Well, of course they are, because you're going to have a whole bunch of people going and get a test that has a huge 80% false positive rate. Okay? So I'm not doubting that. We're certainly not going to get to 10 million cases. I'm not buying that. But if we do, okay, and I'm eating those terms, it doesn't mean much to me because who cares about reporting? You might as well make it 100 million. You know, like we're even going to have those that level of testing and stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. If you got any questions, comments, or contradictions or difference of opinion, go ahead and put it in the comments below. Because, of course, like as always, I'm going to be this is broadcasting live to Balance Nation on YouTube, which is facebook.com/groups/Balance Nation. But if you want to be able to get a copy of this, since that's a closed group currently, just go over to youtube.com/Balance Protocol. And you'll be able to get the share link and share that with other people, okay? So back to that test. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that you understood, okay, is understanding a couple of principles, okay? Now, one of the other things is I want to make sure everybody knows that this is my pure opinion. Professionally, make your own decisions. If you have any questions or comments, please contact your medical provider and feel free to have a dialogue, okay? Also, at the end of the video, please watch my disclosure statement because that's very important to caveat all the things that I'm sharing in this video, okay? Remember, question everything and do your own research. Okay, enough of all the fill in the blanks. Here's the deal, okay? Just because you go and get a test where they stick a swab in your nose and give you the hoo, 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 okay? It does that sound, by the way. Did you know that when they stick it in your nose? It's pretty cool. That would actually make it fun if the hazmat freaks would do that with their shields and all that. They would go, hey, we're here for your coronavirus test. Okay, woo, 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 woo. Anyways, what they're swabbing for is a little fragment of RNA, essentially, okay? And so this basically, I like to just call it a protein particle, okay? Because it's made up of amino acids and so forth. So what they're testing for is the presence of this random RNA particle, okay? It is not proof that the virus, and I'm doing that in air quotes, is being detected by this test. Okay, it's not. That now has to be sent to a lab, and they have to do the polymerase chain reaction process where they use a variety of reagents and test it across another sampled protein to see if the thing is what it is, supposedly. Okay, so what's really happening here, and I'm going to double and triple down on my particular opinion, that what's happening is there's this massive delusion that's all based upon this RNA test for some deadly virus. Now, first of all, it's not that deadly. But people say, well, what about the people in Italy? Okay. Well, here's the problem. I showed you guys previously, okay, that there are problems with the test as relates to the fact that it's not only not accurate, like I've already said, okay, but the thing is that the particle that it's testing for is not independently just COVID-19. The false positives have to do that it could be bacterial or other supposed viruses. Isn't that something? So you've got the whole microbial world that has a possibility to skew the test. So if other people, which are normally and do die of other infectious diseases, okay, whether it be bacterial or the flu of such, can test positive for this test, but it's skewing the numbers, okay? So when you see those things, that's what I believe it to be, okay? So here's a real fun thing about this. Remember before in the other video that I talked about Cook's postulates? Do you guys remember that? Okay. So basically what it basically says is the first thing you have to do is find the suspected pathogen, say in this case a virus. And see, I'm rubbing my eyes and stuff, guys. I want to make sure that all the hands and hugs that I gave my preceptees for the last 3 days really gets in. I'm going to get mine. Okay. The purified pathogen, okay, you need to be able to grab it, isolate it, grow it, okay? Then essentially take that, expose it to a healthy specimen or animal that doesn't have the symptoms, have the same symptoms that the postulated sick personers have, and then now take that pathogen out of this secondary testing one and then culture it and see if it actually can repurify that pathogen. That's the ramble, okay? So it's basically a litmus test of how things should be able to be reproduced to confirm the hypothesis. It's called scientific method. Okay, you come up with a hypothesis, you gather data, you do the experiments, you interpret the data, and then you should be able to go and have other people be able to replicate it. Okay, so if this virus exists, they should be able to purify these viral particles. Okay. So from these particles in RNA, they can be extracted and they should match the RNA used in the test. But guess what? Hasn't been done. Okay? So until they do that, I'm out. I'm not buying it. Okay? So you got to realize that there's more to this, that it's just not being shared. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do love to explore the ideas of certain conspiracies. One of which everybody's out there loving to jump on is the 5G thing. I'm not doing that because if it was the 5G stuff, then why does China have such a high, massive 80% so far recovery rate? Okay, so the other thing with COVID-19 is none of the symptoms associated or thereunto appertaining are its own symptoms. Okay, there's a lot more. Okay, the other things that have the same stuff. This particular virus, again, is based on the PCR test, which I've already told you that it is flawed, okay? Doesn't match Cook's postulates. It just doesn't add up, okay? So I took a look at the numbers, and there's certain people out there who are saying, well, it's going to double, and it's going to double, and it's going to double, and it's going to double. Well, it didn't do that so far. If you look at the algorithms and the tracking in any other country or in China, it's not doing that. So they're fear-mongering, and why they're doing it, I don't know. You know, I can't speak to that part of it. But the bottom line is back on March 10th, there was only 25 deaths in the United States. And here we are on 17th of March, okay? And in the United States, we have just a little over 100 of them. Okay? So, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to really think, is this thing so heinous? Okay? So it's not doubling. Is it increasing? Sure. Do I think it's going to increase more? Well, of course it is. Okay? Number one, because if it is some other type of microbial stuff, that's it. I'm not impressed with its kill rate. I'm not even impressed with its infection rate, right? But people are going to be doing that cotton swab, and it's going to artificially increase, okay? Now, I did it before. I'm going to do it again, so that way we have context, 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 okay? So remember the last pandemic we had in 2009? Well, of course you don't, because you didn't even pay attention to it. It came and went with the crickets of the night of the summer, okay? But I showed this to you. This is on the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's website, and it's all the estimates and things like that came in. So I just want to remind you, okay? 61 million cases. 61 million cases, okay? 274,000 hospitalizations and 12,469 deaths occurred in the United States, okay? Did anybody panic? Did people clean out the toilet paper back then? Nope. Did everybody freak out? Did they close down schools, countries, and my precious Walt Disney World? No. Didn't do any of that. Were all the hospitals inundated with people that they couldn't keep up with the capacity? No. We handled it. Okay? That's the facts. Just got to stick to the facts. Okay, if you want to interpret them differently with analytical statistics and stuff, we can go at it. Here's the deal. But then now, at first they were asking for 8.5 billion, now 850 billion. Holy moly. For 100 deaths so far? And guess what? I told you before, I'm going to say it again. It'll be done by May. End of May, gone. And here's one of the simple reasons why, okay? But is that people, it's going to be warm. Okay, coronavirus has been shown in the literature to die at elevated temperatures. Okay, 133 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, that's on all kinds of surfaces that the sun hits. Hell, I get into my sauna at 140 degrees. Okay, wouldn't that sound interesting? When the body actually has an infection, it raises body temperature. So when you start breathing warmer, moist, or even hot air, it kills this particular microbial-rich potential environment, okay? So one of the things you can do, not go and do like Dr. Amen said and told people to start popping vitamin D and taking zinc. I covered that in another video. So anytime anybody, just as a reminder, I don't care how lovable and cute they look or what their pedigree is or how long they've been around the info space cranking out content, okay? The bottom line is they tell you to take zinc and they don't tell you the last name, they're talking out of their butt, okay? And you start popping a whole bunch of zinc and you can throw off your hormones, your neurotransmitters, your digestion, insulin sensitivity, a whole lot of stuff. Zinc is not benign, particularly what the last name is, okay? Particularly zinc picolinate. Don't start popping supplements of minerals that you artificially haven't ever done and just taking that particular advice from somebody's little Instagram or Twitter post. It's ridiculous, these guys. I'm keeping notes because guess what happens? End of the summer, when this is all gone the way of the dodo bird, I'm going to do a video and I'm going to feature all those charlatans for doing that kind of stuff, okay? So what you want to do is, just like I said before, you want to get outside in fresh and new and circulating air. You want to get connected to the earth and have your bioelectrical potential, help fight that off, also known as earthing. You want to stay hydrated, okay? Is this where I should, sell everybody on my product, Oral IV, available at oraliv.com? Well, actually, no, because we're out of stock. We sold out, all right? But it's a fantastic supplement to your water to make water work more efficiently and stay with you longer, okay? It's based upon a special electrolyte that I use. It's not a whole bunch of heavy salts and there's no sugars or anything like that in there, okay? So that's my little shameless plug for oraliv.com. And again, it's a different type of product, right? But there are but staying hydrated really comes down to, you want to maintain, good healthy quality water that has plenty of minerals in it, okay, preferably structured and stuff like that. But that's not what this video is about. The point is, between sunshine, connecting to the earth, and hydration, and then sleep, it's amazing, man. Those your immune boosters, right? Stop watching all the stuff on the news. That's the one great thing that was great to have all my preceptees here, was to turn off the daggum news. We did watch it in the background a little bit because I had to, kind of stay whatever, but not, glued to the news cycle constantly, like so many people are doing. So here's the thing. You can, one of the best ways to take care of that little nasal area is to warm your nose, okay? One of the ways you can do it is you can get one of those steamers that you put some pure distilled water in there. You can use reverse osmosis water. That's totally fine too. And you're going to get that nice hot temperature up into your nasal cavity. Don't burn your face by getting it too close, by the way. But by getting your nasal passages increased temperature or breathing in warm air, through either that way or in a sauna, spending time in there, you're going to literally kill off a good 80 to 90% of the microbial pathogens that are in those sinuses. And then so what you do is you go take an hour off and then you go back in and you'll get the remaining 10 or 15%. So 2 sessions back to back in a nice hot sauna, whether it be either like a steam room or it be a dry sauna or a far infrared with near infrared sauna. That's the way to do that, okay? If you want to learn more about those things, I got to turn this into a commercial a little bit. You can go to programs.balanceprotocol.com. I have a free course there on Balance Protocol Prime, which are all the principles and tenets of the method that I created years ago and still continue to teach other clinicians now. And also BP Balance Protocol Enviro 2.0, where I have an air, water, light, sound, EMF, and food module. So about 50 hours of instruction. And of course in there I talk about how to breathe and the quality of air and how to mitigate all those things. And of course, the same thing when it comes to all that as pertains to all those environmental inputs, how to do it the right way. So that's preventative. That's the whole point. If you want to keep your body electric strong and you want to keep your internal environment and external environment healthy, non-conducive to microbial infections, that's the course to take. It's a little bit of an investment. It's $29.97. I'll just tell you straight up. But it's a lot of information. It's not some of these stupid little, $4.97, $9.97 little, fix your gut silliness stuff. It's pretty intense. So the point is information is really helpful. I want you guys to be mindful of previous pandemics or epidemics and stuff like that, whether it be internationally or nationally. And that's why when you take a look at what happened in 2009 and we had, so many deaths, okay, with all these hospitalizations, it's a great compare and contrast. Like I said before, like comparing, a Cat 5 hurricane to an F5 tornado. Compare the damage and kind of see. But everybody says, well, hurricane's worse because you got the storm surge. That's a good point. So you want to compare and contrast. The numbers are not doubling each day on this. It's not growing like it is. And again, just to make sure everybody knows and perfectly clear what my opinion is, I think the cases in the United States are going to increase. But the deaths are going to be minimal. They're not going to be nowhere comparable to other infections that we're used to and that our acute medical life-saving staff across the United States is the best in the world is going to be overwhelmed with. That's a false narrative. It's making people all scared for nothing. Okay? Then people's like, oh, we got to build a whole bunch of hospitals and start building them now. Like you can just build hospitals that daggum fast. Really? I mean, the one down the way from my house, Orlando Health and stuff like that, that thing's been taking, 2 years to build. We'll be through 2 cycles of this nonsense between you build a decent hospital. But they're like, well, in China, we built it in X amount of days. Well, here's the cool thing. You know what's interesting to me? Did you guys know that China went ahead and closed down all of their extra hospitals? They closed down the coronavirus hospitals because there wasn't enough cases to support it. Did you get that? Did you get that memo? Is the mainstream media letting you know that that's passing that? Did they tell you that Apple reopened supposedly all its stores there? I don't know if I didn't fact check that one yet. But listen, there's all kinds of fun things happening. I call them fun things for lack of a better term. The trend is down. in the worst place and where it originated from. So you should rest assured. Now, are you still going to have to stay home and get nailed financially? Yep. That's the worst part about this, is the financial pandemic, the financial thing. But what you're watching when it comes to the bond market and the stock market, that's what started this whole crazy banking things back in the Napoleon days with the Rothschild and doing the run on the bank. If you don't know that story, you should go do your history. Right now, what we have is a transfer of wealth. That's what this is, okay? The people who have money to leverage the market like that are. That's why you see that bad boy going up and down. It's unbelievable, okay? So back to the point here, so that way this doesn't run on too much. What I also wanted to do is give you another little piece of science, okay? Another little one per my investigations, all right? So here's what we've got. Here's a little study called the correlation of chest CT and rapid test PCR testing. That's that little nose thing, little swabby swab. Disease 2019, COVID-19 in China reported of 14 cases, okay, over 1,000 cases. So basically what this was, okay, is they wanted to take a look at the positive rates of this PCR assay and chest CT imaging in our cohort were 59% and 88% for the diagnosis of suspected patients with COVID-19 respectively, okay? So this gets a little gamey for layman's terms, okay? But it says chest CT scans and stuff had higher sensitivity for diagnosis of COVID-19 as compared with initial reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction from swab samples in the epidemic area of China. Okay, so in other words, another hit is that this stupid nasal swab test is not accurate. Okay, so this is a really cool study. You can look it up by this name. Just search engine that, and then you'll be able to grab this whole one here, and then you can read through it. Okay. So that way I can't, this is just for personal use only, so I can't give you reprints of it, all right? So the bottom line is the sensitivity of the RT-PCR test, cotton swab in the nose deal is not very effective. That's basically what this says, okay? So I've showed it to you in the other literature. Now they're comparing it versus another screening technique, and it's just riddled with inaccuracies. All these people who are suspecting that, I think it's just a cool thing. It's the media, and cars are just lined up like it's Chick-fil-A or something like that, having free waffle fries, and it's crazy. Don't go get your nose swabbed. Go outside, like I said. Get your nasal sinuses warmed up. Okay, get your body connected to the earth. Stay hydrated. Eat, laugh, pray, play, and have a good old time. Okay, if you don't want to get in trouble locally with these little things, okay, just find you and 8 of your friends or family, so that way you're under 10. What a stupid freaking thing, in my opinion. Okay. So they're going to drive the numbers through this BS testing, Balance Nation. That's what they're going to do. So you can expect to see that. But the deaths are going to be not even remotely coming close to what we see in the common flu season every year. Okay? So I want you guys to remain calm and chill out. This is going to be a tough recovery when it comes to the financial aspect of it the most. But I have like some of the other posts out there where they're talking about, well, this gives us a time to connect with family and be with our dogs who sit at home all day. We're out at work anyway, so that's a cool thought. So I like to concentrate on that. I really appreciate those type of posts when we're kind of doing those things, giving you guys time, downtime. And but other than that, my recommendation to the people who value my opinion is what I've already said several times. Okay, and stay away from the silly tests. The numbers will go up, but again, come into May, bye-bye. That's what it is. But of course, then they're going to try to parlay this into a vaccine thing, and they're going to rush that through without any trials, all based upon what I would call a fallacy pandemic. because the testing and confirmation of it is just not there. All right, so then they're going to want to now start sticking that into the seasonal flu shot. It's crazy. All right, so here's what I want to do. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the questions and comments that you had while I've been on here. Sorry about the initial audio things and stuff like that going on. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so let's see if we got any questions here. Let's see here. Velda. Hey, Velda. She's always so sweet. So she says that, I'll move this down here just a little bit more. Velda says, you're so right. The numbers are not worth the panic. So what do you think is going on? Something is going on. Yeah, I think that there is a protein, a peptide, if you will, that is being confused with some other one coming out of China. So that's what I think about that. Okay. Mark says, right now, I am just seeing a huge example of human biases at work. I agree with you, Mark. Totally agree. Yep. Okay, Dewey, can I put you on there? New Cruz would say some dumb bleak like he is advising in a situation like this. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Jupiter says, this have anything to do with all the CEOs resigning, keeping people looking in one direction while something else is happening? I don't know. It's a good one. That's one of the things that, you got to put some thought to. I'm not quite sure. Now there's some talk of Apple buying Disney, okay, which is pretty interesting. I don't know the answers to those things. I like to stick to the science and the research and give you guys information like that. Let's see here. Mark says, I love you, brother. My friends are going to hate me after this all said and done, not making friends this week. And that's okay. That's how it works. We can all have differences of opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. And, respectful dialectic and disagreement is, one of the things that makes this country fantastic. We have the Constitution and Bill of Rights that allows us the freedom of speech to give our opinions, just like but yet, of course, I'm going to give my caveats in here and say, hey, this is just my opinion. Do your own research. Don't believe me. I try to cite my sources and send you guys to that so you can do your own due diligence. And if people are going to end friendships based upon disagreements of this and panic, then you really don't need them in your life anyways. They just have a toxic, Taurus coming out of their heart, and just makes for bad juju in the air and makes you more susceptible to microbes. So let them go, right? Let it go, let it go. See, little Disney, man, I miss it already. But my princesses, they keep me going. All right. See what's up. Darcy says, keep posting the great information and truth that literally no one else is posting. That's what I'm trying to do. And this is a labor of love for me. And Chris says something, after the Epstein case and all this seems a bit weird, to be honest. From what I've read, it's definitely a cover for an ulterior motive. I agree, Chris. I really do. I think there's something else behind it, but it's all speculation, right? I don't have something to be able to back my opinion and substantiate my case on that, and I don't know. Imagine that, right? Jupiter says, agreed, plus the other stuff going with celebs. And that's the other thing that's just kind of creepy to me, is this person, all these, they just want to stay relevant, right? They want their publicists to get them out there and be like, oh, hey, I tested positive for corona. So what? Even if you did from that fallacy test, most of y'all are going to be asymptomatic. And those of you who are symptomatic, you'll get over it. It's not a big deal. I mean, oh my gosh, you're going to sit at home now anyways. Okay? So Mitra says, what if they are positive? It's a great question. What if they are? Okay, what if I get in my car and run into one of these drive-through, nose jobs, okay, and it tests positive? Okay, now what? Great, the numbers go up. Does that substantiate almost $1 trillion of our tax money to do what? We're still sitting on about 500, what is it, million or billion? I forgot. My blood sugar is a little low right now. From the Ebola nonsense and the Zika things. I mean, it's crazy where that money goes. Carlos wants to know, when do you think it's over? If your opinion, if infected, what do you recommend to kill it? Okay. Well, here's the thing. I don't believe it's something that really needs to be killed. I believe there's other microbes that need to be killed that would actually skew and make a false positive. In order to kill those, well, here's what you do. You induce your body's natural ability to fight off infection. And what is that? It's sunlight, it's hydration, it's air, it's rest, and bioelectrical conductance to the earth. That's it primarily, okay? Now, if you have other systems that are affected by increased booger production and mucosa or lung congestion, right? If you want to bust that up, sure, you can. Oh, wait, guys, Dr. Beck is getting ready to say that you can use a dietary supplement. Yes, dietary supplements are useful, but not in the absence of context, not some stupid meme like all these functional medicine docs are out there just, giving a list of all these supplements to say. Oh my gosh. And of course, the link in the bio to their store. N-acetylcysteine, it's fantastic. But if you keep taking N-acetylcysteine for too long, it's going to dry up all that mucus and then inflame the tissue, but it's anti-inflammatory. It's also inflammatory. Okay, it's anti-inflammatory and inflammatory in the context of the person. So you can bust it up with that. Of course, I love the sauna, and I love, hot steam going in the nasal passages, right? I love skin brushing and lymphatic drainage, right? And all that other kind of fun stuff, That's what you do. So many more things without thinking. Mark says, again, lots of fear-mongering. What is the reality in terms of death by age? Well, they're really not dividing that out in the data set that I have. Jeremy says that clan Michael Olstrom was on Joe Rogan saying that the sauna will not kill it and that this could last 7 to 19 months and kill 10 times more people than the flu. Oh, guess what? It could. And it could not. You know what I mean? Here's the thing that we have, and this is the differentiation for me, guys. What I want you to do is think for just a second for yourself, okay? We can either go on previous data sets and precedences that's well established over the last 100 years, or we can do this prediction game. We can start getting our epidemiology and advice from bookies. How about that? Why don't we start taking a look at what are the odds? Why don't we start looking into crystal balls and going to palm readers? Okay? Why don't we go to some cool old lady that'll throw a bunch of chicken bones into a plate and then make predictions too? Right? Or some morbidly obese guy telling people that we're going to have, some disease set later. Listen, I'm trying to tell you that I want you to go look at the data sets that we have now. I want you to look at both sides of the arguments in the scientific literature and then analyze it. Okay? Here's the difference. I'm saying I don't know what I'm saying, but what I'm seeing now, it's not trending towards that. And there's no previous precedent. So it gives me a lot of comfort. What if your spouse goes on a business trip and they meet somebody better looking and wealthier than you and, can cook better and, talks real pretty? You going to be worried they're going to make a bad choice? I mean, that type of hyperbole and fantasy and that stupid movie playing in that stupid prefrontal cortex and getting you all crazy is a worthless pipe dream. Let's deal with the numbers now, okay? That's really what my opinion is on that. Stop playing the guessing game and go on precedent. That's what law does. That's what court cases do. They quote precedents to make their argument. That's all I'm doing, okay? The present is based upon things of the past. You still don't know what the future is going to do. I mean, hell, Hillary Clinton was supposed to have a 98% chance of winning the presidency. How'd that work out for you? All the experts. Well, who are you, Beck? No, I'm just a person, right? So, Mark says, hey, buddy, won't leave me alone, want me to listen. He is really scared after the podcast. Oh, boy. Well, people just, fear is false evidence appearing real. The vast majority of fear, it comes from nothing that's happened yet. Have you ever noticed that? Right? It's kind of like people are fearful of things that they think are going to have happen. Right? It's like watching a scary movie. Oh, is the guy with the chainsaw or the pokey little knives on his hand going to jump out and get him? I'm scared, whatever. And then what if the guy just turns on the light, takes his mask off and says, hey, man, I'm just kidding. I brought you a drink. You'd be like, oh, it's instantly not scary. So when you have the reality of things, things aren't fearful. So I'm not fearful. I'm not scared of nothing. Okay? Hell, I live in my home. I'm here all the time. Okay? So I'm already quarantined and confined to quarters. I don't go out much anyways because I have everything I need here. Okay? So Tell people stop being fear. Say, what are you afraid of? Where is your fear coming from? And you can have this conversation with yourself in the mirror too, Balance Nation. All right? Ask yourself, where's the fear coming from? Is it based on any evidence that we have confirmed now? No, it's always going to be of the unknown. So then wait till it's known. Then you can catch up on your fear. But until then, stop being fearful. Stop panicking and worrying and listen to those talking heads. Okay? Hell, I'm telling you, don't even listen to this talking head in this little box right here. Go do some research. Stay off of Reddit and all the conspiracy people. That'll drive you nuts too. Okay, back to Velda. She says, how much do you want to bet that they'll show a huge increase in COVID-19 cases and deaths will go way down? The Western medicine will take credit for the decreased percentage of death because of how great Western medicine is. That's quite possible, Velda. I think you are onto something. I would have a hard time disagreeing with you. Okay? Mary, she says, thank you for speaking the truth. People have lost their minds. They have. If you're going and driving and going and getting toilet paper just because everybody else was doing it, you're in hysterics. If you're just going to get in your car asymptomatic and go drive and let some stranger who you don't even know, isn't that amazing? That kind of reminds me of, like, you know, if somebody, you know, just wants to go and have, you know, they'll go and they'll check their insurance and see who pays for it. And next thing you know, ladies are sitting on a table, all their business or whatever, from a guy they literally just walked in the room that they met, just happened to be on their insurance, and they're allowed to stick all kinds of things in there and swab and scrape and whatever in a little cheap dress, didn't even buy him dinner, right? It's crazy to me that people do make decisions like that with no investigative stuff into the person, or at least, you know, that kind of stuff. Medicine is weird. So we're going to drive our car to some random person with a face shield on and a hat and whatever, and we're just going to say, hey, put your window down. I'm going to stick something in your nose. And why would you trust that? Why does that even make sense? Can somebody tell me that in the comments of why you're going to go let some random person stick a cotton swab into your nose just because they presuppose that there's some medical professional doing some valid test? I can't get over it. I saw the footage on TV and I'm going, what in the world? You know? Would you just go to some random person with stuff on, with a little thing, and they had a new glove on and say, hey, I'm a nose picker. I pick noses for tips? It's crazy, man. Nathan, appreciate you, brother. Always great info. Thank you, man. When you going to come to Florida and let's rip some lip, baby? Let's do it. Okay. Velda says, I value your opinion. Love you too. Oh, look at there, guys. It's my beautiful wife. Look how gorgeous she is. Giggity, giggity. Okay, my husband is amazing. Love you. Well, I love you too, but I think you're a little biased, honey. I think you're a little biased. Okay. So Jeffro Piers, wonderful guy. What do you think about high numbers of cases in places with low sunlight levels and vitamin D like Seattle? That's a good question. What do I think? Isn't that amazing? Lack of sunlight. Okay? Isn't that something? Cold temperatures. Isn't that funny how these little proteins in your nose kind of do something? I think you're onto something, Jeffro. I think you're onto something. So yeah, I think the environment has a lot to do with it, because last time I checked, Dr. AGB is huge on the environment and has been so for 26 years. Your air, your water, your light, your sound, your EMF, and your food are your environmental inputs. Okay? It's amazing the effects that they have on the body's resiliency. Okay? P.S. Anonymously says, hope you're awesome and thanks for sharing the insights. You're welcome, guys. I'll keep doing it. Mitra, correct me. Okay, so it was billions. Yeah, billions of dollars taken out. Yep. What's your opinion about the role? Okay, so it says, somebody says, what's your role about the opinion of chest CT and diagnosis? It seems to be a much more accurate than nucleic acid testing. That's exactly what I just showed. That's a wonderful thing. Whoever your anonymousness is, maybe you posted that before I actually posted mine, but that's exactly right. Okay. I think the CT diagnosis tends to be more accurate, right? Okay, so let's see here. Any more of this? I like Steve. Steve Arundel said Twilight Zone 2020. Isn't it? It's unbelievable. Sean King says, nice way to get your DNA. That's kind of a conspiracy I can kind of get behind. No, that's a very interesting thing, right? What I didn't see, and I haven't gone, if there's one here somewhere in Central Florida, I might actually drive, go do that and get some footage, do a live in-person kind of testing thing. We'll kind of see. I might see what kind of trouble I can get in. But I want to see if they have to, or maybe go through myself and then experience it and see if you've got some type of medical release and I can get a copy of that, because that'll be interesting. There's got to be something of that nature. All right, guys. Well, I'm 46 minutes into here. Oh, man, Paul, you says you got stranded in Mexico on a beach with hot Senorita. Not doing so bad. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. You know, the thing, guys, is this. I do these opinion videos for you guys because I just want you to kind of have a different perspective. You know, if you want to disagree with me, that's fine. I'm not ad hominem the people that I've mentioned by name in here. I just disagree with them. I think a lot of this stuff is reckless. It's going to impact us terribly. I think the shoe's going to drop later. We're going to figure it out. But as soon as the air significantly increases across the country and it's sunshine and all that stuff is going to be wonderful, this is all going to go away. It's going to be a different thing. Go away as far as these numbers and stuff. We'll kind of stop tracking it. That'll just kind of go away. It's not going to go away for a long time because this is a profit play for companies to make vaccines and beef up. You know, the reason why, because we through education, we were showing people how the flu vaccination, the flu shot is a fallacy. Doesn't work. It's not effective. And you can't keep up with these mutated viral strains, right? You know how long it takes to make a vaccine, right? So even if they did work, you got to do some pretty predictive crystal ball type of stuff 12 to 18 months prior to, just to get it all produced and put into eggs. And every shot basically needs an egg. And if you think about all the billions of eggs that you need from all the freaking millions and millions of chickens, and then all those chickens need all kinds of tons of food, and then the little glass vials and there's the syringes, and you got to put it in the boxes, and you got to print the inserts, and you got to package all up in pallets, and you got to put it in shipping crates, you got to move it all around the country. Whew, it's billions and billions of dollar industry. And when people wise up and realize that flu shots don't work and are toxic to the body and they're poison, that business goes down. So it's only in those businesses, leveraging propaganda and things like this and lobbies to boof it back up. So people go, I guarantee you next year, the amount of people going there and just randomly let some stranger, at their CVS or Walgreens or some random place, just inject them with something they have no idea what they're being injected with because they never asked for the insert from the pharmacist, for crying out loud, is going to go up. Okay? Remember, guys, you are the boss of you. No one will care for you more than you. Be an educated patient. Demand higher levels of health care from your providers. Okay? You give up your freedom and your power when you have some third party, ergo the health mafia organizations, the insurance companies, pay these people who are trained in a certain way that you don't know anything about. You just look up and see who you can go see. Your selection process is flawed. You know what I mean? I mean, holy crap. I hope you're not, dating and courting people that way. I mean, if you're going to let somebody stick something in you, you might want to know a little bit more about them first. Okay? How you like that double entendre? Okay? So, Balance Nation, love you, appreciate you. And I know there's a whole bunch of submitted questions. I'll get to those tomorrow. I'll get to those then, okay? Because I got to go get my sleep on, right? Which is one of the reasons why I'm preventing any type of these silly little microbial presupposed viral infections. Live life in balance, Balance Nation. Love you bunches, and I will see you soon.